Let's start setting up. Okay.
David 767, turn right heading 245, descend to altitude 4,000 feet, report established runway 27 left.
Right heading 245, descend altitude 4,000 feet, report established 27 left, David 767.
Cathay 239, established 27 left.
Cathay 239, roger. David 767, when established, descend microwave.
Descend microwave 270.
Direct version 301.
Version 301, reduce speed 180 knots, landing 27 left.
180, version 301.
David 767, reduce speed 160 knots, maintain till 40 ME.
Speed 164, 277.
Virgin 301, turn right heading 185.
Right heading 185, version 301.
Hello everyone and welcome to this Microsoft Flight Simulator video, and today we have something very special to show you. This is something very unique to the sim, and as you saw in the intro, we have company next to us in the cockpit in the form of our very own animated co-pilot or first officer. This co-pilot actually earns his money and doesn't just fill a chair. He's going to be filling the role of pilot monitoring in a two-crew environment, which is what these aircraft actually require to fly in the real world. I know we're all used to flying this aircraft all by ourselves. It's time we get a little bit of assistance next to us. And this is brought to us by the guys at FS2CREW. Now, if you're not familiar with their products, you've been missing out. They provide a voice-controlled as well as button-controlled software to assist us in flying our aircraft. But with this new addition to the A32nx, we have our very own virtual co-pilot physically sitting next to us. Now, I must emphasize that this is an expansion pack to the already existing A32nx project. You will require the base project, which is this one over here, FlyByWire A32nx Project Edition for Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you already have this, then you can purchase the expansion pack. If you don't have this, you will need to purchase this first before you can purchase the expansion pack. So let's install it and have a demonstration of what it looks like with a short flight. Okay, once we're inside the sim, we can go ahead to world map, select our aircraft, which is, as always, is the FlyByWire A32nx. Select our departure. I have loaded a flight in SimBrief from Manchester to Belfast. It's just going to be a quick hour hop, so we don't want to start on the runway. We're going to start somewhere here. Shutdown. Flight conditions. Let's just choose a preset. So maybe some few clouds for today. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to the toolbar on top. We're going to select FS2CREW Command Center. Our product is the animated first officer, and we're going to launch the application. First thing I want to do is go to the settings option over here, and as you can see, we have different audio options, interface. I'm not going to go through everything one by one. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you hover your mouse over the selection, it'll give you an explanation of what that is. For today, we're just going to use button control, so we're going to make sure button control is selected, and we're going to use the letter Z for our main key. Now by default, Z is assigned to the autopilot, so I have cleared that binding from my keyboard. Make sure whatever key you choose is not bound to something else that's going to affect the aircraft. So you go assignment, okay, you can start scan, press the button you want to use for your button control, and then save changes. Everything else that we go through here, you can go through it on your own. It's pretty self-explanatory, all the settings and everything. We're not going to spend too much time on that today. So let's close that up. And to get started, what we want to do is we want to press the start pre-flight events, and that's going to get our first officer moving. Now, it's also very similar to the FlyByWire the Project Edition. You have your checklist assist, your captain flows assist, which show you what you should be doing, and your info center, which shows you what's happening at the time. Now, I am using button control. We're not going to use voice control today. Now, I would advise, once you're familiar with the software, to give voice control a go. It is very immersive. It's wonderful to be able to use your voice to perform checklists and give instructions to the co-pilot, and then actually watch him physically move and carry out those instructions. Okay, so we're going to start with the pre-flight procedures. I'm going to start by clicking this clock over here, which says start pre-flight events. And
let's start setting up. Okay.
And as you'll see, now that we've done that, he's going to start moving. So he's going to start setting up the overhead. He's going to give power to the aircraft by pushing the batteries, etc. There he goes. Pretty damn cool if you Ask me. And as you can see, he's setting up his side. He's going to set up the overhead. He's giving the aircraft some power. Once he's done that, he's going to head out for the walk around, and we're going to do our side as well. So what we can do in the meantime is we can set up our portion of the overhead as well as the MCDU and everything else that needs to be done while he's doing his walk around. Okay, there he's setting up his side of the FCU.
I'm out for the walk around.
APU bleed on, and he's headed out for the walk around. So while he's doing that, let us carry on with our side. We're going to put crew supply on, set the ADOS to nav, turn on all the fuel pumps so long. Now I'm not following the Airbus procedures strictly. Today's demonstration is all about the Copilot. So you're going to see we're going to be skipping some procedures and just getting everything done in a different order. Okay, come down here. Let's give us some brightness to the displays. Here we go. We'll stick ourselves in some fake squawk code. Let's turn on the fly plan so we can get our sim brief information. Okay, sim brief data not loaded yet. Let's get our short flight quickly, which is going to be less than an hour, just over to Belfast. So what we need here is our fuel and our payload. So fuel is 4.5 tons, get that in there. Payload, download that from SimBrief, get that in there. Let's set up the MCDU quickly. Okay. Now, I'm just going to quickly rush through this. I do have various tutorials on my channel on how to set this up and how to fly this aircraft. If you haven't seen that, I suggest you check that out. Departure, destination, fuel on board is incorrect. That must change. Oh, it's still being loaded. Okay. Okay, init A page, init request. There's our flight number, EZ701. Cruise altitude is flight level 240.
I'm back. No issues on the walk around.
Okay, our co-pilot is back.
Okay.
He's going to carry on with what he needs to do while we do this. As you can see, he's setting up there. Okay, in the meantime, let's do this quickly. Okay, flight plan, let's check our charts quickly. I think we'll just depart off the nearest runway. So let's unload this flight, old flight, import from SimBrief. Right, that one over there. Okay, it's got the wrong departure over here. We're going to go off 23 right.
Hi, the security and safety checks were all done. Are you good to start boarding?
Yes, you can start boarding.
Thanks.
Okay, they're going to start boarding now. So let's go ahead and just change this departure quickly. It's going to be Eclad. That's our first waypoint. So it's going to be 23 right is Eclad 1 Romeo departure. Okay, let's stick that in there so long. So Echo Golf Charlie Charlie departure 23 right Eclad 1 Romeo departure. Okay, we can set that there. That all looks good. Just clear the discontinuity there. Fuel should be loaded. There we go, 4.5 tons. Go to the init B page quickly. Block fuel 4.5 tons. Zero fuel weight 58.2. Performance page. Flaps 2 takeoff. We'll do a flex temp of 50 just made up for today. V run 124, V rotate 125, and V2 129. Okay, that's the box set up. Okay, pretty much everything out the way there. We have 16 minutes till pushback. Now we've rushed through that pretty fast, so we still have plenty of time before we need to push back. Okay, now we're going to wait for the passengers to finish loading and then the doors will close. Let's fast forward the time a little bit by clicking on the +13 marker here.
Hi guys, here's the load sheet for you.
Thanks.
No problem, have a safe flight.
Okay, load sheet's been received, so all passengers are on board. Click through the time a little bit more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard our flight today. As you
Yeah, the
locate
passenger
your
announcements have started. 3
please
minutes.
place your smaller items under the seat in front of you to provide more room for larger items in our overhead compartment.
Hey guys, all packs are on board. Are we clear to close?
Yes.
Thanks, let me know if you need anything.
Okay, fantastic. Everyone is on board. We're clear to close the doors. You'll see the doors will now close. And we have 1 minute till pushback. So let's go ahead and do the before start checklist.
Before start checklist. Cockpit prep. Completed. Completed. Gear pins and covers. Remove. Signs. On and auto. Adirs. Nah. Fuel quantity. Or 80 kilograms. Set. Takeoff data. Set. Barrel ref. 1013. Set. 1013. Set. Down to the line.
Okay, there we go. So we're done with the checklist down to the line, which is right over there. Now what we can do is we can continue with the flow. So as it shows you here, captain's flows. First we're going to request pushback and start clearance. So our first officer is going to do that.
Request start clearance. Ground. Easy. Requesting pushback and start clearance.
Right, now we've got our pushback
Okay,
and
clear
start
to push and
clearance.
start.
It shows here.
Easy.
Now that we've got our push and start clearance, it shows what our flows are next, just to give you some assistance over here. So we need to put the beacon light on, which is over here. We need to, parking brake is confirmed on, and then we call for the checklist below the line. So parking brake is on, and then we can call for checklist below the line by pushing our button. He's going to grab the checklist
Windows
again.
and doors. Closed. Closed. Beacon.
Now, I'm pushing Z every time I want to respond. You can also just push the little play icon here in the corner, but I'm just using the Z button.
On. Thrust levers.
Thrust levers are not set to idle. There we go.
Idle. Parking brake. On. Before start checklist complete.
Right, so the before start checklist is now complete. And what we can do now, it says captain flows assist. We can start pushback, allows engine start, starting engines after both engines are stable. So this gives you an idea of how to follow the procedures in order. So captain, which is us, or pilot flying, flows assist, shows us what we need to do next, which is start pushback. Then we need to start the engines. Once both engines are stable, we're going to select the engine mode selector back to normal, put the APU bleed off, put the APU's master off, and call for the after start checklist. Now, very important, certain events are triggers to start the pilot monitoring's next flow. So yeah, you can see pilot monitoring after start flow, and that's triggered by setting the engine mode selector back to normal after engine start. So there, once we've sent the engine mode selector back to normal, he's going to arm the ground spoiler, set rudder trim to 0, set the takeoff flaps, and set the pitch trim. So let's go ahead and start our pushback right now. Now I don't have Pushback Express installed, but for today we're just going to use the FlyByWire pushback, which is a little bit finicky, but let's just do it anyway. So here we got pushback, yes, call the tug is coming. Okay, let's go and release the parking brake and start moving backwards. Now this is not going to be a very straight pushback, it's not going to be a very pretty pushback on the line, but today is not about my flying skills, today is about our virtual Copilot. So let's go ahead and start the engines while we're pushing back. So we're going to set engine mode selector on, and we're going to start engine number 2, and we're going to announce engine 2
Starting engine 2.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board today. This is your operator speaking. Please direct your attention to the cabin crew for important safety issues. There is an instruction card in your seat pocket that illustrates the safety equipment on board this aircraft. Regulations require compliance with this information as well as this to you, and note that the nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized.
Okay, let's start
If there
engine
is a
1.
loss of cabin pressure, a panel will open and
Starting
oxygen
engine
mask
1.
will appear. Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened. It is
Okay, we're just going to stop here. I know we're not on the line, but it is what it is, so let's go stop the pushback there.
Pull on the tabs
Set the
to
parking
inflate
brake,
your jacket.
remove the tug.
If the jacket fails to inflate, use the tube
We'll wait for
to
engine
inflate
2 to finish
the
starting up.
Your
Excuse me,
jacket
engine
is
1.
equipped with a light that will automatically illuminate in water. This is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is not permitted in the cabin or in the lavatory. Cabin lights
Okay, then
will
as I
now
said,
turn
after
off.
engine 1 is available,
Are
we'll
located
continue
over
with
your
our
seat.
flow,
Thank you very much for
which
your
is engine mode selector normal, APU bleed off, etc. Now once I've put the engine mode selector back to normal, our pilot monitoring is going to continue with the ground spoilers, rudder trim, takeoff flaps and pitch trim. Okay, there we go, we have engine 1 available. Okay, 2 good engine starts, engine mode selector back to normal, and now you'll see he will continue with his flow. Let me do mine at the same time. So we're going to put the APU bleed off, we're going to put the APU master switch off. Okay, there we go, he's set. Ground spoilers are armed, rudder trim is 0. He's going to set flaps to our takeoff flap setting, which is flaps 2. And there's he sets our pitch trim. And now we can call for the after start checklist.
After start checklist. Anti-ice. Off. ECAM status. Checked. Pitch trim. 31% set. Rudder trim. 0. After start checklist complete.
And there we go, we have our after start checklist complete. Now we can begin the taxi and do the flight controls check. Well, let's do the flight controls check first.
Flight control check. Ready.
So I'm going to grab my yoke. I'm going to go
Full down.
full down.
Full up. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Right. That's that done. Now we are ready to taxi. First, the first officer is going to do his flight control check.
Request taxi clearance. Ground. Good morning. Hits. Easy. Ready to taxi. Clear to taxi. Easy.
Okay, clear left.
Clear left side. Clear right side.
Okay, so we can release the parking brake and we can get moving.
Brake check.
Okay, now
Pressure
check the brakes.
0.
So you can call brake check. I did put my foot on the brake. Let's check we clear this side. Let's continue the taxi nice and slowly. And then when we get to the runway, we will call for the before takeoff checklist. Okay, let's wait for our company over here because it looks like he's in a bit of a hurry. So we'll just fall in behind him and follow him to the runway. In the meantime, we could probably do the before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flight instruments.
Checked.
Checked. Briefing.
Confirmed.
Flap setting.
Config 2.
Config 2. V1, VR, V2, flex temp.
V1, 1, 2, 4, VR, 1, 2, 5, V2, 1, 2, 9, flex temp, 5, 0 degrees.
V1, 1, 2, 4, VR, 1, 2, 5, V2, 1, 2, 9, flex temp, 5, 0 degrees. ATC.
Set.
ECAM memo.
Takeoff. No blue.
Down to the line.
Okay, there we go. So that's the takeoff checklist down to the line. Let's go ahead and get takeoff clearance.
Request takeoff clearance.
Tower. Easy. Ready for departure. Cleared for departure. Easy.
Okay, let's do the checklist below the line.
Below the line.
Approach path clear of traffic.
Okay, he says we are clear to... No, it's not. Look at that. That's FSTL for you. FSLTL.
Takeoff runway.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Cabin crew.
Advised.
TCAS.
TARA.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
PAX.
Packs are off.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Okay, so I'm going to call takeoff once we're ready for takeoff. And let's get out of here. Okay, where's one? Okay, takeoff.
Takeoff.
Check. Thrust set.
Checked.
V1, rotate. Positive climb.
Back.
Check.
Main toga, SRS autothrust approved.
Checked.
Gear up.
Okay, these put the gear up for us.
Flaps 1.
Gear up. Speed checked.
Climb.
Check. Flaps 1.
Thrust. Climb. Auto thrust.
Check.
Thrust. Climb. Auto thrust.
Check.
Okay, thrust isn't on.
Packs are on.
Let's go ahead and put the autopilot on.
AP1.
Check.
Let's call for flap 0. Flaps.
Flap 0.
Speed checked. 1,000 to go.
There we
Check.
go. Flaps on 0. Let's do the after takeoff checklist.
After takeoff, climb checklist.
Landing gear. Flap 0.
Out, start.
Check.
Speed.
Check.
Okay, we level off here at 5,000 feet for our first altitude restriction.
Out. Check.
Flaps. Retracted. Packs. Packs are on. Down to the line. Clear at 9. Okay.
Okay, there we go. We can assume that we've been cleared to continue the climb by ATC, so we don't have to sit here at 5,000 feet for too long. So let's go ahead and, oops, wrong one. Set that all the way up to flight level 240.
Thrust. Climb. Check. Open. Climb. Check.
Okay, open climb. We're going to ignore the altitude restriction in the MCDU. Just assume that ATC has cleared us for the climb to flight level 240. Let's set standard on the barrow.
Set standard. Standard. Cross check. Passing flight level 0, 5, 3. Now. Check.
Okay, so you can see turned off the runway turn off lights and the nose wheel lights. Let's continue the after climb take just below the line.
Below the line. Barrel rev. Standard set. Standard set. After takeoff, climb checklist complete.
Okay, let's turn the volume down there a little bit. Right, so now we're continuing the climb. Once we pass 10,000 feet, you're going to see he's going to put the landing lights off, and he's going to do the EFIS, and he's going to change the ND range, and then he's going to put the terrain ND off as well. There we go, so there's 10,000 feet. There's setting his range to 80, and he's put the terrain on ND off, which is in op in this aircraft for the moment anyway. Nothing much left to do now, except once we reach the cruise level, what we'll do is we'll give him control of the aircraft while we set up our approach and arrival. So I'm going to cut to that, and we'll see you in a second. Okay, so here we are reaching our cruising flight level, or flight level 240. We don't have much time before we need to descend again. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him control while we set up the aircraft.
You have control. I have control. Alpha cruise. Check.
Okay, let's set up the MCDU for the arrival. So we're going to go flight plan, destination, arrival. We're going to do the ILS 25. I'm going to insert that over there. Let's check the chart so we can get all our landing data. Now, as always, guys, if you don't know how to set this up using Navigraph, SimBrief, and flying the A32nx, make sure you check out my channel. I've got many videos over there. So, ILS DME localizer runway 25. So let's set that up quickly. So, performance, next page, QNH is 1013. We don't have any weather at the moment. Temperature, whatever we want. Winds, whatever we want. Barrow, I said, is 468. 468 is our decision height. Config, landing full config is fine. Now normally you put in your winds and your wind direction and your wind speed, but we're not using any weather today, so pretty sure there is no wind. We'll just leave it like that. I think we are ready for the descent. So when we reach that white arrow over there, we're going to begin our descent to robot. Okay, let's continue setting up here. Auto brake and go to medium. We've done the MCDU. We can briefly approach. We're going to skip that today. And yeah, let's say I have control. So we can tell him I have control back again.
I have control. You have control.
And we will come back at top of descent. Now that we've decided the descent, he's turned on the seatbelt signs, and when we pass 10,000 feet, he's going to turn on the landing lights. Once we pass the transition altitude, what we can do is we'll do the approach checklist.
Cabin crew, prepare for arrival.
Okay, yeah, we're descending through 12,000 feet. And as you can see on the left on the info center, our pilot monitoring descent flow. The trigger will be when we pass 10,000 feet. He's going to put the landing lights on, seatbelt signs on, they're already on. Landing system is required, which is our glide slope. EFIS options to constraint, and then terrain on the ND is going to put on. Our landing lights are already on because I think I've got it set here to turn on, our seatbelt signs are already on because there's a setting here in the options to put it on when you start the descent. There we go, seatbelts on at top of descent. So that's why those are already on. Okay, we're pitching up a little bit to decrease our speed, 250 knots below 10,000 feet. So all is looking good. Once we pass 10,000 feet, he's going to do all of these things. So I'm going to put my landing system on in the meantime. Okay, we're just leveling off so we can bring the speed back to 250 knots, which is our speed restriction below 10,000 feet. Okay, there we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving at our destination shortly. If you're making a connecting flight...
Okay, so he's done that. We'll do the approach checklist once we've passed through the transition altitude, which is 7,000 feet. So let's continue the descent to 7,000 feet.
Flight attendants will now walk.
Okay, there's 7,000 feet. Let's set the QNH here.
1013 set. 1013 set.
Let's
Passing 6,700.
Let's do the approach checklist.
Approach checklist. Briefing now. Checked. Confirm. ECAM status. Checked. Seatbelts. On. Aero ref. 1013 set. 1013 set. Minimum. 468 set. 468 set. Engine mode selector. Normal. Approach checklist complete.
Okay, I'm going to bring the speed back a little bit, just manually, because it looks like overspeed here a little bit. Need to turn off all these points of interest. These white dots bother me. Okay, there we go. So down to 210 knots. We can ask for flaps 1.
Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1.
Okay, let's arm the approach. Continue slowing down. Okay, we're about to turn final. I think we can get configured for landing. Nothing wrong with being configured early. So let's ask for flaps 2. We continue slowing down.
2,500. Flaps 2. Speed checked. Flaps 2. Lodestar, check.
Okay, localizer has been captured. There's our runway over there. Still at 2,500 feet, waiting to capture the glide
check.
scope.
Speed, check.
So I'll
Gear
get
down.
on. We're very slow already. Let me see that.
Out, check.
Okay, gear down. Flaps 3.
Flaps 3. Gear down. Speed checked. Load, check.
Wasn't keeping an eye on my
Flaps
speed
3.
there.
Glide slope star. Check.
Okay, there we catch the glide slope. We can start our descent now. Configured nice and early. I wasn't paying attention. My speed nearly got away from me there. Okay, but gears down. We're on flaps 3. We'll just put flaps full on short final.
Glide slope. Check.
Okay, we are a little bit over 5 miles out. Let's ask him to do flaps full.
Flaps full. Speed checked. Flaps full.
Okay, and the landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Cabin crew. Advised. Auto thrust. Speed. Auto brake. Medium. ECAM memo. Landing. No glue. Landing checklist complete.
Cool. Okay, feet back on the rudders.
1,000.
Check.
Okay, after minimums we will disconnect the autopilots.
Continue. Check.
Hundred above.
Check.
Stable.
500. Minimum.
Manual flight. Check. Speed. Check.
400.
So I grab the throttle.
Land. Check.
Oh no!
300.
Okay, we're just gonna ignore that. He's going around anyway.
200.
You go around, I'll land. That's FS2CREW for you.
100. 50.
Flare. Check.
40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Roll out. Check.
Okay, we're down a little bit right of center line, but I'll take it.
Spoilers. Reverse grain. Decel. 70 knots.
Okay, we'll exit the runway over here. I made it. Apologies for FSLTL. It happens when you want to have other traffic. Okay, let's get off the runway over here. We'll do the after landing checklist. Okay, I'm just going to stop right here. Brakes on, and let's do the after landing checklist. First I need to disarm the ground spoilers, and as you can see, that is the trigger for the pilot monitoring to do his after landing flow. So he's going to do radar off, windshield off, flaps retract, all of this, and then we'll do the after landing checklist. Has he started the APU? No.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of our flight. Please
After
remain
landing
seated
checklist,
with
flaps.
the seatbelt fastened until the captain
Retracted.
turns off
Spoilers.
the seatbelt sign and the aircraft
Disarm.
is parked
APU.
safely. This would be
Start.
your
Radar.
indication that it is safe to move around
Off.
the cabin,
Predictive
gather
wind shear
your
system.
belongings, and disembark.
Off.
We'd like
After
to
landing
thank you for
checklist
flying
complete.
with us today. We appreciate your
Okay,
business
so I'm just
and we
gonna
hope to
creep
see you
forward
once
somewhere
again
here
on
and
future
park
flights. Thank you.
wherever. Probably let's just go right in front of us here. And then we will do our flow, which as you can see in the assist box, we're going to ensure the taxi light is off, we're going to do parking brake on, engine master off, and then we can shut down the aircraft. So I'm just going to stop right here for now. Let me set the parking brake, and then taxi light. Let's go off, and engine master's off. So we're going to go 1, 2, engine master off, seat belts can go off, beacon can go off, and he's going to do his flow. Didn't I put it off? It is off.
Taxi light off.
Oh, the runway turn off lights. No, other way. There we go. Okay, parking checklist.
Parking checklist. APU bleed. On. Are you sure about that? Engines. Off. Seatbelts. Off. Exterior lights. Off. Fuel pumps. Off. Are you sure about that? Parking brake and shocks. On. Parking checklist complete.
Okay, for that last checklist, as you can see there, I put the APU bleed off before I did the checklist, and I left the fuel pumps on, and you can see if it is not done correctly, required by the checklist, he will ask you, are you sure about that? He's not just going to skip to the next item because you just said yes. So he checks to make sure that what you say is correct. So he said APU bleed, and I said on, and it wasn't on. I said it was off, and he said, are you sure about that? But yes, there you have it, a full flight from A to B. Just a quick demonstration of how the first officer looks in the cockpit, animated. I think it's very cool. Obviously, we didn't go into detail all the settings and the checklists and everything like that. I'd advise you guys to spend a little bit of time using button control. Once you have got that down, definitely give voice control a go. You don't have to push buttons every time you want to respond. You can use your voice. It does take a little bit of practice, a little bit of speech recognition software, training to get used to your voice, but it is very, very... I hope this little video has convinced you that you need this in your cockpit of the A32nx. Make sure you head on over to the FS2CREW website, purchase this expansion pack for the A32nx Project Edition, and fly with a little bit of company in your cockpit. As always, guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done that already. If you have any questions regarding the FS2CREW expansion pack, the AI Copilot, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As always, happy flying, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.